Let me ask you this question, D. Maybe you can help me out. Why the fuck do I have to be awake today? Why is that a thing? Well, I had to be awake today, D. You don't know? All right, fair enough. At least you're honest. At least you're an honest boy. When you don't know, you just don't know. Yeah. When you don't know, you just don't know. Where's your bow? Oh, man. Afternoon, yeah. Good evening. Ahoy, hoy. Ahoy, hoy. Looks like a nice morning. It's not bad, but I can tell it's going to be hot and stale and muggy today. Pretty much. Thanks, Ian, for the 20. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Lady Unluck. Unluck, be a lady tonight. I don't give a damn about those other guys you've been with. Unluck, be a lady to me. Ba-dum. I look a little scraggly. More than a little scraggly. Look at this shit. Look at this hair. I haven't brushed it today. This is what happens, by the way, when you don't brush your hair. I get the feeling that if I just stopped brushing my hair, I'd have natural dreads and like how long do you think, like, look at this shit. How long do you think it would take my hair to dread naturally if I just left it alone? Probably not that fucking long. Supreme Court just ruled in favor of Nestle in a child slave case. What? Yeah, you can see it already happening in my hair. Like my hair isn't super curly, but it is naturally curly, and so it wants to like bunch together with other chunks of hair. You know what I mean? This is the one thing that sucks about long hair. If you get to brush it, it gets knotted up. Yeah, the forever to dry thing, it sucks too. Juneteenth is a national holiday now, and it's also my birthday. Hey, look at that. Look at that there. Coffee. Is gardening something you'd enjoy? Yeah, but I would never invest in a garden unless I owned a place. Like this place, I could start a really nice garden if I wanted to, but in a year, 2 years, I'm going to be leaving this place, more than likely. I will not be purchasing this property. And so to invest all the time and get attached to a garden, just have to like till it under or leave it for the next fucking tenant to neglect, that doesn't make any sense to me. If I own a piece of property, then I think that, well, I don't have to think. I know. I grew up gardening with my mom here and there, planting flowers. So like I would enjoy making a little flower bed in front of the house and picking out pretty flowers to put in it. I would also enjoy doing like a little pepper garden. Just get some different kinds of hot peppers and grow those. I think I would really enjoy doing both of those things. I don't know about like a big functional garden with tomatoes and cucumbers and blah, 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 you know, melons. I don't know about that, but definitely a little pepper garden would be nice. And I would enjoy making a little flower bed as well, like just a little small flower bed in front of the house somewhere. Yeah, a little spice garden would be kind of cool too. Just grow some parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Dude, that song is haunting. That Peter, Paul, and Mary song, Scarborough Fair, is fucking haunting. It's like, it sounds otherworldly. Three flower beds, zinnia, cosmos, and sunflowers. Cool. Still have not yet to see a single fucking tomato out of TJ. How big of a garden would you want? Like, I just got done saying a small garden. Growing a weird variety of tiny tomats this year that produce multicolored tomatoes. Yeah. I've seen those. Those are cool. Those are real cool. Would it do? I don't know, man. I don't know. Today is supposed to be a day off for all of us, but we're having a giant meeting today. I'm not mentally prepared for a meeting. I almost never am. I fucking hate meetings. I really fucking hate meetings. They're such a necessary part of doing what we do. Shit has to be planned out, solidified, decided upon. Fucking moves have to be made. And it's just... layoffs coming? No. Just business shit. It's like planning out the next couple of months worth of stuff, planning out all the side shit that we're trying to start up now that we've got this main content schedule fucking like to the point where it looks like we can maintain it. We're banking content at a pretty alarming rate, which is good. That's what we want. So now we have to, you know, suss out the details on what we're doing this summer in terms of like, are we going to meet up? Not necessarily a fan meetup, just the group of us meet up and make some content. When we're going to do that, how we're going to do that. Got to fucking cater to everybody's goddamn stupid fucking personal schedule to make that work. And then fucking this, fucking that, fucking this, fucking that. It's just always something. We engaged this animation studio that I won't mention that was going to do this intro for us, do a bunch of fucking animations for us. They gave us a quote and everything. We engaged them, scheduled a wire transfer of the initial payment that they requested. Like we were contracted with these people. And then we get this email from them like a week after we engage with them, luckily before the fucking scheduled wire transfer of funds goes out, saying, oh, unfortunately, we have another project that requires our time. So they just leave us holding our dicks on something that it took 2 weeks for us to fucking get done. Like it took us 2 weeks to find and negotiate with this fucking company to get a bunch of shit done for the channel. New animations, new intro, new this, new that. They fucking engage us, give us a quote. We agree to the quote. And then they fucking like wait a week, almost 2 weeks, and then send us this email. Like, oh yeah, we're not going to be able to do your project. Ever so sorry. And it's like, the fuck is that? So now we got to fucking deal with that. Now we got to start from literal scratch. So like 2 weeks worth of work, looking for, debating about, engaging with different animators and stuff that ended in us finding an animation studio that said that they could help us. Now that all that work, all those meetings, all that shit, now it has to all be done again. We got to make the pitch again. We got to explain it to the people again. We got to find the right animation house. We got to find a fucking group of people that can fit us into a schedule that doesn't push the work back till fucking December. This is bullshit, guys. This stymies me more than anything. It makes me realize why people like Marshall and like, I'm not meaning to lump him in with it, but like Tom McDonald, the rapper that just does everything himself. His wife does his cinematography, he owns his cameras. His wife does all his editing. He writes and produces all his beats and all his songs. It's a one-man show. This is why people maneuver towards that, because relying on other fucking people, even professionals, these are people that are doing what I do, right? They've struck out on their own to make a creative endeavor. And they fuck other creatives over. You know what I mean? This is why people like Marshall learn how to fucking edit, learn cinematography, learn how to fucking produce their own beats, learn how to play every goddamn instrument that they need, learn how to self-produce. Because the minute you fucking rely on another fucking person, you get burnt. And it's just like, dude, none of us are animators. We need this shit for our show. We've got money to spend. We're willing to pay a fair price to a person that's got the fucking talent for this shit. But it's just like, motherfuck, when you spend 2 weeks having meetings with these people, pitching them your ideas, going back and forth on the price, and you lock it in and you're like, set that aside. Those guys are going to be working on our shit. Awesome. Let's move forward. Oh, wait. Nope. The 2 weeks you just spent, right out the fucking window. Go right back. Just like, ugh. So now we get to do that today. Instead of chilling out today. You know, not that I'm bitching, but today was supposed to be some time off for me. So I wasn't doing this type of shit. But no. I see why people give up on the dream. Oh my God, dude. You don't know the half of it. You don't know the fucking half of it, dude. It has been a constant battle with us to find people that have skills that we don't have to work adjacent to our show in one way or another. It has been a fucking constant battle. We need editors. We need this, we need that, right? And just finding those other creatives that we can contract work out to. Dude, it took us fucking forever to get the ball rolling on the editing team. And even now, it's something that we've got to watch. Like, because every once in a while, our editing team produces something that just ain't up to our fucking standards. Got to go back to the drawing board on that shit. And if we didn't look at it, we're stuck having to release something we don't like. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're absolutely right. This is why people give up. Cheer up, P-Way. I'll try.
It's hard to like hold people to contracts if they're creative types.
Well, it's just like, there's no fucking... Look, dude, people can disengage from a contract as long as no money has changed hands and work hasn't started and all that shit at will. So it's not like what this fucking animation studio did was somehow illegal or wrong. It was just unethical. Mm-hmm. It's unethical to engage in good faith with a customer, to tell them to act jazzed about their product and their project and to act excited about the fucking prospects of getting to work on it because, you know, it's different from your usual stuff. And to say, oh my God, we are uniquely positioned to give you guys what you need. Oh, we're super excited about this. And then to engage in the fucking back and forth of price negotiation, to settle on a price, and to go so far as to ask us to schedule a fucking wire transfer to them so that they can start work on the date that we all agreed to. And then to pull out a week before that date. After we've spent 2 weeks engaging them and then a further 2 weeks waiting for the date. So it's like a month of our fucking time as creatives just wadded up in the trash. Think about that. A month's worth of project. Think about working on something as you work on other things for a month. And then at the end of that month, just wadding it up and throwing it in the garbage can and starting again. It's like frustrating as all fucking get out is what it is. And it's just like, dude, you wouldn't expect it, but we, as the bunch of stoner podcast makers, come with the professionalism when we engage these people. We know a price. We know how to negotiate that price. We know how to treat these people's time like it's important, like ours is. We don't miss meetings. We don't fucking show up unprepared to talk. We do our due diligence as businessmen to make sure that their time isn't wasted during these pitch meetings and negotiation meetings. You know what I mean? So it's like, fuck. You invest that and you expect just the modicum of fucking return on that. You know, that the other person's going to see you doing that and make at least some fucking slim effort to meet you at that part of the battlefield. And they don't. So many fucking flakes, bro. Just flake after flake after flake after flake in the history of my fucking doing this. Going all the way back, bro. Going all the way back to the DP days. Just people we engage to do this. People we fucking have do this first. Flake, 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 flake. Oh, eventually we find somebody that can help us. Flake, flake, flake. And then we find somebody. Flake, flake, flake. It's the same thing with DP. Our whole history, if I went through the history of people that we have contracted with to help us with something on the show, it's like a history of flakes. Just flake, flake, flake out, flake out, flake out, flake out. Yeah, every once in a while we find the person that fucking works with us or does a little work for us that isn't a fucking total flake. But I'm telling you, dude, it's like one good person to 10 flakes.
It doesn't fucking matter if they're vetted or not. They can still flake if they're vetted.
Yeah. I mean, we vet these people to the best of our ability. Like, think about this. We were living in Louisiana. Now, Louisiana is not exactly a hotbed of creativity and podcasting, but there are tons of fucking audio engineers in Louisiana because there's tons of bands and tons of venues in Louisiana. So we engaged a number of these people early on in the show to help us deal with audio problems that we were having. We were having problems balancing our audio. We are having problems balancing our individual mics versus the content we were playing. I mean, if you go back and look at early DP, it's plagued with this kind of audio imbalance issue.
DFF.
Sorry, DP or DFF. Once again, we had to pick another fucking D name. Yeah, the early shows of DFF are plagued with audio issues, right? So we engaged an audio engineer to come in and look at our setup. And over the phone, he acted like he knew everything that we were talking about. We're like, here's the programs that we're using. Here's what we're doing. We're producing a podcast. We're live streaming. And here's the problem. Oh, yeah. We can fix that. That's not a problem. That's not a problem, bro. You know, whatever it was. I can't remember what we paid the guy. It was a fair amount. It's, fair compensation for his time. He comes over, and I had to babysit him because I had to explain to him how we did our show and how everything worked. Now, not just an overview. I had to sit next to this guy so I could answer questions about the shit that he said he was it was fucking a nightmare, dude. It was a nightmare. We paid that dude. The show sounded a little better for a while, but he didn't fix the underlying problem, which happened to be a multi-track setting that was interfering that none of us knew how to fucking access. So he didn't even fix the problem. It was us that fixed the problem by moving to a new way of recording and streaming. But it took us like a year to figure that out. Then we tried to move to even better quality audio and engage Zandalar Cryptoducius Esquire. You guys might remember him, to be an on-site audio engineer for our fucking work. Dude was a flake. Dude was way more interested in sitting around and smoking all the weed that we smoked than actually fucking doing what we asked him to do. I've told you guys that story before. You guys remember all those shows where my fucking mic was just like duct taped to my mic arm because it had broken? You know whose job it was to maintain all the audio equipment and shit and to make sure it was all functioning so that the personalities on the fucking show weren't dealing with their mics falling in their laps in the middle of conversations? It was Zandalar's job. You know how long we employed him and that mic sat there duct taped? Dude was way more interested in just kicking back and smoking weed. That's like, he had every fucking talent that was needed to fucking do what we needed him to do. Dude, TJ had to take him by the scruff of the neck one day, not literally, verbally, and force him to clean up our chords. Because when he sets things up at first, he didn't do chord management. So there were just chords snaking all over the floor of our fucking studio. And so TJ had to fucking call him over, say, I need you to come over now, ASAP. When the dude came over, he didn't fucking, hey dude, what's up? Or offer him a J or have a sit down. He brought him directly to the studio and was like, do not leave until this is cleaned up. Do not leave until these chords are bundled and this studio doesn't look like a fucking mess. That's what it took to get him to finally fucking chord manage our chords. And even then, he left it half-ass. I could have done a better job, and I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at chord management. I'm terrible at that fucking making everything nice. And I could have fucking done it better. Eventually, TJ did. Because what Zandalar did was so fucking ridiculous that TJ eventually, after we fired him, TJ just fucking taped shit up. He was a friend prior to employing, kinda, yeah. Like a friend of a friend, basically. Just a friend of a friend that had the kind of like ability or whatever that we needed. Fuck.
I'll get you one, baby.
Oh, thank you, honey.
I'll get you a fresh cup, too. Do you want any more coffee or no?
No, I'm good on the coffee. Thank you, baby. I mean, friendship and business can mix just fine. I'm friends with my business partners. I have a really well-maintained and good friendship with my business partners. It works fine. You just have to realize that business is business and pleasure is pleasure, right? Well, it is what it is, man. I mean, good business partners are good friends. That's just the truth. Like, you have an adversarial relationship with a business partner, that business is functionally dead. It's a zombie just waiting to be carved up. You have to maintain like a sense of camaraderie, especially in a creative endeavor where it's like you're co-equally responsible for the shit that's going out. It's got your name and your fucking reputation and your image all over it, just the same as your business partners. You gotta have that friendly fucking rapport. If you don't, you're just waiting for things to fucking rot.
Like I said, I guess Matt Jarbo noticed.
What?
Matt Jarbo noticed the movie stream.
Oh, he DM'd me.
Yeah.
He's like, how'd you like the movie? He was cool about it, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, honestly, we had fun watching it. I was like, it was kind of bad, but we watched it. You know, we had fun laughing at it. So thanks for that. Thanks for being a good sport. And he was like, yeah, dude. He's like, you know, I just wanted to try and make a movie. He's like, I didn't have a lot of resources and time, and you know, I saw the brass ring. I was like, you know, I got this 2 weeks I can take off to shoot this fucking crazy movie, and I just wanted to do it, and we did it, and you know what I mean? I was like, I could respect that, you know? Like, you got one more movie under your belt than I do, so. No, he was cool about it.
I just missed it because it was buried in all the Bosch notifications.
I don't think he intended it to be bad. He didn't say that. He didn't say, like, oh, I was trying it to be bad. I think he was trying to make something that was interesting. And he didn't have a lot, like he said, he didn't have a lot of time, didn't have a lot of resources, had never really done anything like that before, but he wanted to do it. And he did that, you know. So how do you know, you can hate on the movie because the movie was fucking dodeca cringe. But you can't really hate on Jarbo for that. You know what I mean? It might be a bad movie, but he's made one more movie than the rest of us, you know. You ever use the insult turd burglar? I called Dinor a turd burglar all the time. It's like another way of saying little shit to me.
I don't think he intended it to be bad, but I think he doesn't have any illusions that it was some Oscar winner or anything
No,
either.
he definitely didn't present that. He was very fucking humble about it, and he was a good sport. You know, he was just interested in what we thought about it, you know what I mean? And I told him, I was honest. I gave him the benefit of honesty, and he didn't react all egotistically. When I told him, like, you know, yeah, it was kind of bad. We laughed at it a lot, but it was interesting, you know what I mean? It was fun to watch. At the end, we had a good time. We laughed our asses off, so, you know what I mean? And he didn't come back with, like, oh, it wasn't, you know, he wasn't egotistically defending the film at all. He was just kind of putting it out there. He's not ashamed of it, which I respect that. I respect that in the guy, if nothing else. You know what I mean? He has no illusions. What is this movie? So Matt Jarbo made a movie called In Search of ... In Search of ... which is like a found footage kind of single camera horror film that he and a friend of his made with a very loose script and a very loose plot structure and a lot of expositional dialogue and a lot of hammy kind of improvised dialogue that's supposed to sound like a couple of bros being bros, you know, but it really isn't kind of that. You know what I mean? It doesn't quite reach that, but you know, there was a concept there. You know, there was a conceptualization and a delivery on that. Thanks, Kevin. Hang loose, bro.
Paul watched it with the patrons.
Yeah, we did
You want to see it?
Yeah, we did like an impromptu patron. Well, not impromptu, but I do a patrons Highdeology every month. And this month, we spent about 15, 20 minutes talking about the Vosh thing because I happen to do the Highdeology on the same day of the Vosh thing. But that petered out pretty quick. And so I was like, fuck it, let's watch this Jarbo movie. And everybody liked that. It was a lot of fun. The chat had a good time watching it, so.
So patrons are basically getting 2 movie commentaries this month.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I might start doing with my patron Highdeologies more often. Just kind of finding these, like, negative budget, you know, internet films. Vaush was almost about to cry. I don't think so, bro. I really don't think so, bro. I have not played Mordhau. Please stop asking fucking have you played questions. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna try and watch all the bad bends. I'm telling you, dude, the cock block in that discussion has and always will be fucking Scotty. Scotty fears more than any of us. All of us fear it. But Scotty, more than any of us, fears walking down Steelmanville Road to see what lies at the end. There are now 9 Bad Ben films. 9. Back when we started talking about doing this, there were 7. We could have locked it in, watched 7 Bad Bens, and had that content behind us, and literally at least been able to say we walked down Steelmanville Road, unafraid, unapologetic. But now there are 9. 9. Dude, the revelations of Steelmanville Road. Not everybody is equipped to find out what lies at the end of that cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac.
I think it's because you said 9.
Yeah. 9. 9, 9, 9. You sent a shot. Sorry about that, brah. Very sorry, Paul. I'm learning to animate from scratch. Marshall got me to start taking classes. Flakes are everywhere. Work, Tinder dates, name it. Yep. You right about that, homie. Sorry I missed that.
Blue Noble, I think you honestly have more chance of your chats being viewed as a mod than super chat sometimes.
Sometimes. I'm bad at it, though. That's not Blue Noble's fault.
Like, I've watched you stream, and it's not very convenient for you, honestly. Like, I can see how little of the chat you can actually see.
Well, it's easier at a desktop stream.
Yeah.
Are you getting sick of being out here, D? Do you want to go in? I'm invite you to.
I want my money back. I'm out here drowning in your fat. I'm down here on my knees praying for everything you lack. I ain't afraid of you. I'm just a victim of your fear. Oh, Saul Williams. Saul Williams. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, dude. There's a lot of horrible everything on YouTube though. YouTube is kind of cool because it's like amateur hour, right? Still, although it's slowly but surely diminishing. But it's like people can try their hand at pretty much anything. And there are people out there that are, look, you don't get better at something by not doing it, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot of fucking movie commentary channels on YouTube that are kind of functionally unwatchable. But that doesn't mean that I think that that person should stop making movie commentaries, because you can only get better at something as time goes on, right? You have to fucking critique movies in order to learn how to critique movies. I've just been doing it since I was a kid. I have my own way of doing it. It's not film school style critique. You know, I don't try and bring that because I really don't have that. I don't have that film school background. I'm just a kid that's been watching movies since he was fucking 6 years old and has been obsessed with the format. So I've watched a fuck ton of movies in my life, and I have a fuck ton of ideas about, you know, what they mean and what they pretend. And I've spent a lot of time discussing those movies. As a kid, I discussed those movies with my parents. My parents are both movie buffs in their own way. And so they would have movie discussions with me. And then as it started to become like a pastime for your friends to get together, do a sleepover, watch a scary movie, we would all talk about the movie until the fucking sun came up, because we were scared shitless by it. You know what I mean? And then, you know, as I turned into a teenager, movies got cool, and I started, of course, talking with my friends about movies and disagreeing with them about movies, giving my own thoughts on movies, basically doing movie critique without knowing I was doing it. Then in my 20s, did a lot of binge drinking and partying, and there was a lot of movie watching and shit, and a lot of late night stoned sit up around the fucking living room, watch and laugh at and critique a movie, and then talk about it afterwards, high and drunk out of our minds. And then in my, you know what I mean? In my 30s, it was escapism for me, largely. Because in my 30s, I kind of retreated from other people, tried to mold myself into this different kind of white picket fence, married, good job guy. And so movies were my escape. And so I had a friend who was a similarly, you know, inclined movie buff, and we would watch movies and talk about it online and fucking, you know what I mean? And now movies are just kind of, they're the same thing. They're a little bit of all of that for me. They're an escape. Like yesterday, I was just not feeling good yesterday. I had some shit going on, and it was like, I watched a movie with Amelia and it made me feel better. You know, we sat down, I was able to lose myself in a film, and, you know, for better or for ill, and it made me feel better at the end of it, you know? So that's what it is. It's escapism, it's a general interest, but it's something I've been doing since, like I said, I was 6 years old. So it's practice, 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 practice. You're never going to get better. It's like critiquing somebody who just picked up a trumpet and started to learn it, right? And going like, that sounds awful. Well, of course it does. They just picked up the horn. Give them 6 months of practicing, and I bet it sounds a little better. Give them 6 years of practicing, and I bet they could fucking play circles around you.
No, it's work ethic too. Like there's amateurs and there's people that just treat it like a fuck off thing where they don't have to prepare at all.
Sure. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of different angles on it, for sure. My best friend won't get his COVID vaccine because he said Jesus will protect him. Sorry, Pooh. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I mean, that's at least not the worst excuse I've ever heard.
What?
The Jesus excuse.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely heard worse.
There are worse. Not many, but yeah. Even the worst trumpet playing sounds like farts, which is amusing. Sure.
Definitely the worst was the I don't believe in germ theory one.
Right. Like for me, when I was doing Cinema for Cynics and then looking forward to reviving that channel, I was never interested in what other internet critics were doing. At first, when I first started that channel, TJ gave me this list of other channels to look at. I can't remember all the names. One of them was Adam Stuckman. I remember him being part of it. And because TJ was trying to help me conceptualize like how I would attack this personally. He wanted it to be me, but he wanted to give me an idea of what these other reviewers were doing. Because like I said, I don't watch this shit. I'm not a YouTube guy. You know, I'm on YouTube, but I don't. So he gave me this list of people to go watch, and I came back, and I felt like it was going to be a bad conversation. Because I came back, and I was like, I hate to fucking say this, dude, but I hate every one of these fucking people that you listed. I don't like the way they critique movies. And he said, good. So now you know what to do, right? You know, he didn't mean for me to watch these things and necessarily latch on to one way of doing things or another. He wanted to show me what was out there, and it was very useful. Because taking a look at all these different types of presentation, going like, I hate the way this person cuts. I hate the way this person jokes. I hate the way this person simps for a bad movie. I hate the way, you know, I hate the fakeness of how this person presents themselves as if they're always happy. You know, whatever it was, and he was right. I knew what to do after that. It gave me a clear picture of what I wanted to be on Cinema for Cynics, which is basically a guy that doesn't turn on the fucking hot sauce lest I actually feel it. Deadpan otherwise. Like it's old hat to me to be digging through these goddamn fucking movies, and here's another one. That's the attitude I go forward with. Not hatred, just
dissatisfaction.
Antipathy and dissatisfaction, yeah. People always know I start looking at a movie from the negatives first. And I find that to be good even with a movie that I love. Like people say negative.
I'm cynical too.
Well, you're even like in some ways you're more cynical than me, which is probably one of the reasons why I fell so fucking head over heels in love with you, because it's very rare for me to meet somebody more cynical than me. And I'm not saying you are on every issue, but when it comes to fucking media and movies and shit and narratives, dude, you're twice the cynic I am.
Yeah. Well, I did have a little bit more training than you too. I took those videography classes and writing about film classes and shit.
True. But, you know, your perspective is very fucking cynical. And the cynical perspective is kind of what, it's Cinema for Cynics. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's the perspective from which I've always watched movies. As an adult, at least. As a kid, it was Wonderland, you know what I mean?
Like, I'm so cynical, I noticed the infinity chin strap and he didn't.
Dude, I talked to the fucking guys about it yesterday. They both love Blade 2.
Yeah.
I've seen it a million times. They haven't ever noticed the Infinistrap.
Yeah.
Amelia is awesome. She's so kind. You can tell. She is. She is. Straps never end. That is the guy that does that. That's Ron Perlman, who does all the Fallout intros. War never changes.
I just want to know whose decision it was.
I don't know, dude. That creative decision was fucking whack. Chin strap that goes like, dude, you guys don't understand. If you haven't seen this movie, go look it up. Dude's got like the mustache chin strap that goes up into here, right? And you'd think like it ends on his fucking sideburns, but no, a line of hair goes behind his ear and around, like a line, like a caterpillar goes all the way behind his ear, around the back of his head and connects to the other side, and the top is bald. But it's this little like marker, like Sharpie marker width chin strap that goes all the way around. It's like, yeah, he's got it, which is fine. Like the mustache that goes up into the fucking, that's fine. That's a classic look. But it's like, why does he have like hair croquis? You know what croquis are? Those things that hold sunglasses on that rednecks wear so they can fucking ride jet skis and not lose their sunglasses. It looks like he's got a hair croquis. What was his name in the movie? Do you remember?
I'm just going to look it up so it's not.
No, it's okay. You don't have to look it up. I just was wondering if you remember. I don't.
I'm bad with names in movies.
Reinhardt?
Let's see. Ron Perl. Yeah, Reinhardt.
Reinhardt. Yeah. You guys can look it up. Look up Reinhardt. Like it's especially apparent with him too. It's almost like they wanted to draw attention to it, even though nobody notices it, because fucking Blade puts a fucking explosive thing and sticks it in Reinhardt's skull to keep him in line, and he's got a thing to blow it up, right? And so you see tons of this like from behind Reinhardt shit, but you're so focused on the blinking fucking bomb that's now in the back of his skull that you don't notice the Infinistrap. I've seen that movie a fucking dozen times, and I've never one time seen the Infinistrap. Amelia sees it for the first time, and she's like, dude, does he have an infinity chin strap? And I was like, what? No, he has just a chin strap. She's like, no, look. And I was like, wait just a fucking cotton picking minute. That is an infinity chin strap. What the fuck is that? The Infinistrap, dude.
Yeah, I guess it's not a chin strap, but that's my first word that comes to a head.
I mean, yeah, what would you call that? There's no name for it. A head strap? You know, it's the same thing as a chin strap, but it just goes all the way around. What the fuck? Whose idea was that? Man. Inside joke? I bet it was.
Yeah, because maybe they thought, like, oh, people are totally going to think this is stupid when they see it, and, like, a bunch of people didn't notice it, and, like, heh.
I bet that was designed for that. I bet it was the inside joke was, we're going to give you the stupidest haircut ever, but because of this plot line we have where you have a bomb on the back of your head, the audience is going to have their eyes fixated on that, and you're going to have the dumbest hairstyle ever through the whole movie and be a main antagonist of the movie, and nobody's going to fucking notice your literal trailer trash douchiness fucking hairstyle. Like, that is a douche bro level I've never seen in real life. You know what I mean? I've seen the, like, eyebrow slits, and I've seen the, like, dudes that get, like, little things designed on the side of their heads and shit. And I've seen it all, but, man, I have never seen the Infinistrap. The hair croakies. That's a level of douchiness I ain't never seen. Yeah, Ron Perlman and Sleepwalkers. That's a movie not a lot of people remember. I love the fucking soundtrack to Sleepwalkers. That na 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 na. It's like throughout the whole fucking thing. It's very haunting. It's got a great soundtrack. No, Ron Perlman is good. He was good in that movie. He was good as Reinhardt, you know what I mean? This dude that obviously wants to kill Blade from the jump, but is forced to work with him. He's got a great arc. He's memorable. Well, he's a good choice for the movie. I'm not saying that. It's just like that hairstyle is fucking out of this world, bro. Out of this fucking world. Hello, Paul. Moving from New York to San Fran in a week. Any advice on adjusting to Cali life? Damn. Well, all right. So if you're already in New York and you're moving to San Fran, you're ready for the fucking financial hit you're about to take. So you're good there. So Cali life is different depending on where you're going in Cali. So you're going to the Bay Area. So the Bay Area is a combination of very cosmopolitan, metropolitan type of areas, places that would be called quote unquote gentrified, touristy areas, large business districts, but it is surrounded by varying suburbs that some of them are kind of rough. Like Antioch, for example, is a suburb of Oakland in the Bay Area that is pretty fucked up, at least the last time I was through there. So you have to understand that the Bay Area is a huge, expensive, sprawling metropolis. It's definitely not on the level of New York. So, you know, it might be easier for you to adjust, but there's shit in San Francisco that you will never see in New York. New York is flat, right? New York is utterly and completely flat. San Francisco is built in a coastal mountain range. So there are streets that are like, it's got this like step pyramid structure to it.
You say it's kind of like Seattle with the hills.
Yeah, but the way that San Francisco handles it is almost completely unique.
Yeah.
Seattle will do this winding back and forth path to get you up through the hills and shit. Fucking San Francisco just built like this. Like you'll have a straight road and then all of a sudden it drops off to like, you know, not a 45-degree angle, but probably, you know, whatever, like a 60-degree angle. And you're like, whoa, okay. And then it levels off for a block. And then you're like, whoa, okay. It's like a roller coaster. And going up those hills is like, you know, if you don't have a good car, a lot of people's cars stall out. It's definitely a place you have to remember to use your e-brake. Most people, like out here, I don't ever use my fucking e-brake. Park is fine, but like there, you gotta fucking use your e-brake because if you're at the top of one of those hills, parked like at a, like I said, like a 65-degree angle, and your fucking transmission fails or some shit, that car is gonna be a runaway death train. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, San Francisco is filled with yuppies and hippies and, you know, kind of conservatives. A lot of people think that San Francisco is this inherently liberal area, but tons of the business people that live in the hills around San Francisco that affect a lot of the politics of San Francisco are very conservative, of course, because they're rich. So it's a mess, but you live in New York. That's a mess too. As far as California life, just get a car that you're willing to put some miles on because California is a huge state. You can get to pretty much any type of thing that you want within 2 hours of the Bay Area. You want beautiful mountain ranges, you're 2.5, 3 hours from that. You want beach, obviously you're in San Francisco, so you're just right on the coast. You take a little 2-hour jaunt down Highway 1. And they're up Highway 1, you're in San Diego, you're in fucking Pismo, you're in LA. You know what I mean? So just get a car you can put some miles on. You don't have to sit out here and endure it. It's hard watching you. A friend of mine used to live in San Francisco and had a manual Subaru that constantly stalled out because of all the bills, all the hills. Yeah. Humboldt County likes to think it's the Wild West of California. It's just Stonerville. It's just like Stoner Central. You know what I mean? There are a lot of very differing opinions, but weed is the unifying premise in Humboldt. Here you're going through a rough heat wave. Well, no. To be honest with you, this is what this area of California is like every year. But in general, the West, places that are normally not as hot, they're feeling it. Yeah, dude, look at this California shit right here. It's gonna be about 102 today. There's your palm trees. There's your fucking evergreen trees. Behind me, you've got giant eucalyptus trees. I mean, that's California, dude. What are you gonna do? We like to import trees. I know how to drive stick. I prefer driving stick, but I don't currently own a manual. Amelia doesn't know how to drive it. That's typically what's kept me from owning a manual transmission car for so long, is that I have a partner that I'm living with, and the utility of us both being able to use the car is obvious. You know, Amelia's not super interested in learning how to drive a stick, so it's like I get automatics now. It kind of sucks. If I ever got to the point where I could own 2 cars, like have Amelia have her car, and then I have mine, where that made sense, I would definitely get a manual. But alas and alack, we're not there. Nor do I ever really think I want to be there. Like, having 2 cars just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's a matter of preference, right? I learned on a manual transmission, so I learned how to drive on an old grindy manual, like an old non-power shifting. Like, it's like now they've got like manuals that are just like. I learned on a fucking 1946 Willys Jeep with an old fucking gearbox that you. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was grinding the gears. It's just that's how they shifted. You know, just an old manual fucking just clunked into that shit. That's how I learned. If you can't find them, grind them. Yeah. As a passenger, the shifter is annoying. I don't give a fuck. I had a car from exactly around that era, and I got a manual. You know what I mean? My first car that I ever bought for myself was like a 1984 Ford Tempo, 5-speed, 4-banger 5-speed. Just I love that feeling, dude. I love cycling through that shit. I love the control it gives you in hilly areas. Everybody else has to ride their brakes. You just downshift, baby. Oh, I'm in 4th and going a little fast on this hilly area. Let me just put it in 3rd. Love that shit. Having trouble pulling that hill? Fuck it, dude. Downshift. I'm in 3rd gear and I'm slowing down on that hill. Oh no, man. My fucking car's struggling. No, it isn't. I love that shit. I'm guessing my 2001 Corolla won't really enjoy going up the winding Cali hills. Depends on where you're going. You'll be fine. Cars make it fine. You might want to consider upgrading that at some point, like maybe trading that in for something a little newer. Just simply because if you are living in the Bay Area and you're planning on doing a lot of hill driving, yeah, I mean, you're going to burn that fucker out. Yeah, I'd say like over 90% of the cars sold in America are automatic. Or like manual-matic, or whatever they call them, where it's like you can switch to like a little push-button manual mode if you want. That's a more luxury kind of thing, but it does exist. I was born in 2003. I've never seen anyone drive a stick. Yeah. I mean, it's there. Like I said, it's super uncommon. Like it's something that's cheaper to produce, but car manufacturers actually charge a premium for it now. Because, you know what I mean? It's like a niche thing. Most people don't want it, so they're like, oh, it's desirable. Of course, Shaggy. Welcome to California, by the way. The auto magic transmissions are nice, but manual is a superior transmission in terms of lifespan, of course. Stressful week, but having a good smoke with you. Well, that's cool. That's a cool. I miss nicotine, can't smoke on estrogen, causes blood clots and potential for stroke increases. Yeah. Manual matic is all the convenience of automatic while still being able to make classic sports car sounds, I guess. You gained respect points in my books for driving. I don't currently drive manual. Like I said, I have one car. Amelia doesn't drive stick. So the last manual transmission car that I owned was a 2006 Scion XB. And I loved that car. I drove the fucking wheels off that motherfucker. It was actually a great car. But that was because at that point I was married and I worked a job that required me to have a car and my wife to have a car. She had a long commute one way, I had to commute the other way, so we had to have our own cars. So it made sense for me to buy a car that I liked to drive. But since then, when it comes to cars, it's like when you're living with somebody and there's no need for two cars. Like, what's the point? You know, I don't need two cars. It would be silly for me to have two car payments. It just makes no sense. Some people need that shit. But right now, I've got 2020 Nissan Kicks automatic. It's the Kicks is like the baby brother of the Nissan Rogue, I guess. It was really weird. We took the Kicks out for the first time. Like when we had first got it, we did a little road trip with it. And I ended up parking right next to a 2020 Nissan Rogue that was the same color. And it literally looked like they had taken the Nissan Rogue and minimized it a little bit. It's like the same exact car, just one was the grown-up. But they're both pretty good cars, actually. Amelia found this car. I never would have even looked at a car named a Kicks. I would have been like, nope. But she looked into it and kind of sold me on the fucking, well, the price was right and the features were good. And like, I was really, like, for me, the real sticking point was I wanted a safe car to drive. I wanted a car that had all that modern fucking safety feature shit. Side airbags, front, side, and rear cameras so that you get that fucking full picture of yourself as you're backing out. So that was what mattered to me. And this car's got that in spades. It's got auto braking. So it's got the front cameras, so it senses when something's coming up too fast. And if you don't get on the brakes in time, it brakes for you. I don't really have a car brand preference. I've owned, let me tell you the brands of cars that I've owned in my life. I owned, my first car was a Ford, so a Ford Tempo. And then the second car I got after that was a Dodge Daytona, which was the shittiest car I've ever owned. Well, second shittiest car I've ever owned, to be honest with you. The third car I owned after the Dodge Daytona was a Cadillac Riviera that I bought from my dad for a song. I've told you the story about how he hustled me on that shit. That was a shitty fucking car. So I've had a Ford, a Dodge, a Cadillac. What did I get after the fucking Riviera? After the Riv, what did I drive? That's when I got I got rid of the Riv after I got the Scion. So I got the Scion in 2006. Scion, basically a Toyota. It's like a Toyota sub-brand. Drove the Scion all the way through 2016, 2015, 2016 when I moved to Washington, sold it in Texas because I didn't want to fucking drive it all the way up to Washington and I knew I wasn't going to need it up there. So I sold it in Texas, didn't have a car for a while. Then for a while I had a Toyota Corolla, I think. Trying to remember the brand of that. I didn't drive it much. It was the car that Ashley used to get back and forth to work and shit. I was working, you know, I would use it to get to fucking shooting days and shit, but it was really a car to get her back and forth to her job. I think it was a Toyota Corolla. And then, of course, in the breakup, that was her car, so we transferred the title over to her name, and she kept that car. And I got another Ford. I got a Ford Fiesta. It's a little hatchback car. And I drove that for the last year that I was in Louisiana. Sold it when I left Louisiana. And then got here, and now I've got a Nissan Kicks. So I've owned quite a few different brands. You don't see any brand loyalty. I drive what I drive, you know what I mean? Dude, Pontiacs were beyond not half bad. In the 80s, the Firebird was one of the fucking most amazing American muscle cars ever made, dude. The Pontiac Firebird was fucking insane. New or used? Well, the car I have now was new to me, but I didn't purchase it. I'm leasing it. So in a few years, I will trade it in and get another car probably. Yeah, Fiero, right? So my whole family almost died in a 1984 Pontiac Firebird with the fucking Phoenix on the hood, the gold IROC fucking factory color. Beautiful car, red. Pontiac Grand Prix GTP that you drove to the ground, a deer ultimately killed it. That'll happen. Yeah, no, Pontiacs, like, they get a lot of shit. Maybe in modern times, Pontiacs got shitty, but I'm telling you, back in the 70s and 80s, they made some hot fucking American muscle cars, for sure. Oh, Buick. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was a Buick Riviera. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. You're absolutely right. It was definitely a Riviera. So if Cadillac doesn't make one, it was definitely a Buick. And that sounds right now that you remind me. So yeah, it was like a 94 Buick Riviera. Or no. I think it was a little newer than that. It might have been like a 96. I don't know. I'd have to look at pictures. I'd be able to find it if I looked at the pictures. Car was pretty cool. Like, it had a lot of luxury shit about it, but that was the problem. It was like a luxury car, and I was a kid working at Starbucks. So when the brakes go out on a luxury car, what the fuck happens to a kid that's working at Starbucks? He gets hit with a bill that, like, it's like, what? But yeah, there's a picture on my Instagram of my mom standing next to the crumpled remains of our family's 1984 Pontiac Firebird. Still in her arm cast. Crazy shit. Why did you work at Starbucks for so long? I don't know, because it was easy money, I guess. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it was predictable money. It was better than, in my estimation at least, it was better than a lot of the jobs that were adjacent. You know what I mean? I didn't have the ambitions to make a fuck ton of money. I just wanted my job to kind of allow me the ability to have a little bit of free time, party with my friends and shit. Yeah, they provided healthcare, even for part-time people. It was stable, predictable. I knew exactly what I was doing. To be honest with you, like you may find it laughable, but there's an actual fucking technique and talent to making a really good espresso drink, and I got really good at that. Like I got really good at being a barista, and it was very engaging for me. It was something that I loved working the bar. Even when I moved up to like shift supervisor and for briefly interim store manager, I I put myself in the bar position because I'm telling you, the day goes like that when you work bar. You're just you become like a machine, but it was like it was, I don't know, there was something like actually mentally stimulating about it. Was like a puzzle, right? So you'd have all these cups lined up, each of them a different specialty order, iced, hot, and you have to fucking use the machine in front of you. And back in the day that I learned, they were manual machines, so it was all about fucking banging out your pod, tamping, hook it back up, hit the button, time your shot, pull the shot when it's good, throw it in, mix it in, make the fucking drink look good, put a top on it. Here's you go. And thank you very much. But as you're doing that, you got the next set of shots fucking already pulling out. Bang out your puck, click, click, boom, boom. Your day would go like that. I'd work a 10-hour day and be like, huh? It is repetitive, but it's repetitive in a way that feels like I have a real skill here. Because it is a puzzle. It's not like you're just like flipping one burger and putting it on a bun, and flipping a burger and putting it on a bun, you know what I mean? I'm not to denigrate that work, but being a barista is like you get this huge width of specialty orders, each one requiring a different level of finesse and skill from you. And you've got to decide, like, how do I get through this quickly? But the problem is that it keeps coming. You know what I mean? So you've really got to focus on being consistent. You don't want people bringing drinks back because that fucks up your flow. So if you make a shitty drink, you fail. Because if a person goes like, oh, this tastes burnt, or oh, this isn't right, then you have to stop everything you're doing. You know what I mean? So you have to think workflow. So you have to balance being really good at making a tasty drink exactly how somebody wants it and being fast. I was good, man. You don't just get placed on bar. When I was a barista and they trained me on bar, every once in a while you'd get a bar assignment. When I worked bar, I ripped it. And so pretty soon it was just like, Paul's on bar. This was before I was ever a shift supervisor. When I came in, I was scheduled main bar because I was just the best barista they had. I was the fastest, most consistent, most cool-headed. I didn't get flustered. Like, that's another thing with being a fucking barista and shit during a rush. You got a line of 16 drinks. You cannot get flustered. And a lot of people do. They go, oh my God, I need help. Somebody can please. Oh, not me. Two drinks at a time on top of my machine. Boom, boom, boom. 2 pods. Bop, bop. Boom. The muscle memory is all still there. Reading them off. I got 2 decafs. Boom, boom. Timing them both out. Drinks down. Syrups in. Fucking milk on the steam. Shots finished. Pull it off. Fucking milk off the steam. Shots through the top. Foam. Caramel. Tops. Here you go, sir. Thank you. Have a good day. Boom, boom. You know what I mean? I don't care that 4 more drinks appeared while I handed those off. That's part of the job. You go into the fucking flow zone. And that's why time goes like... Nowadays it's a... Blue. Nowadays it's a little fucking easier to be a barista. I'm not trying to hate, but they've got automatic machines that grind and pull the shot for you. So all that shit I'm talking about, pulling the pot out, banging it out into the trash, pulling a new fresh ground fucking shot, tamping it by hand to just the right amount of pressure, hooking it up, pushing the water through it yourself and watching it, make sure it's perfect, pull it off, fucking dump it in your drink. That doesn't happen anymore. Now you just push a button and it pulls you a perfect shot of double shot it. You know what I mean? So now you just push a button. There's a big hopper on top of the machine. You throw whole beans in that. It grinds itself up and does it all. You know what I mean? It still requires skill. I'm not trying to hate, but back in the days when it was on a manual Italian espresso machine, there's really nothing like that type of work. That type of work is crazy, but it's fun. Not like the old days. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you, dude. Yeah. Well, good luck on getting a job. It's one of those places I always recommend people work. My ex Ashley got a job at Starbucks, along with Chelsea on my recommendation. I don't know if Chelsea still works there. I know Ashley still does, at least last I heard, in Texas. So, you know what I mean? I always try and, like, if people need jobs, I push them towards that shit because Starbucks has always been cool to work with. I'm not even bitching about how hard shit was. I'm just saying that, like, I'm trying to describe why it was fun to me to do something that other people might think is, like, repetitive or, you know, bad work or whatever the fuck. That's all I'm doing. I gotta check the time here. All right, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'll just ask for a PST time check from you guys from now on. Remember, the CEO was running for president and the media was fawning. I'm pretty excited. I hate my current job. Well, neat. Changing jobs is fun and exciting and scary and all that shit. That wasn't a school bus. That was a heavy machinery, piece of heavy machinery driving down the road. There's a house under construction up at the end of the block here, way behind my property somewhere. And they come and go during the day like this. They've been building and digging and moving and just, I don't know. They're up to no good over there. They solemnly swear they're up to no good. Do you ever get tractors driving on the road where you're at? Not really, no. There is a big open field over here next to my house, and a dude did bring a tractor to till it under, but typically, like, you don't get that shit driving down the road here. Oh, okay, that's better. Don't have much more time to chill with you guys. I've got like I said, a long fucking day of meetings and meetings and meetings today. And that starts in about half an hour or so, give or take, so. I don't know, you guys want to do some rapid fire or what? Cool graffiti on that train. Paul lives near train tracks, crazy peanuts. You're moseying on down the river. Cool. Do you have any info on the caramel apple cider? I used to love that shit because of how cheap it is, but then started making my stomach hurt really bad for a reason. That's probably because it's just a giant sugar bomb. So caramel apple cider, at least when I worked at Starbucks, was steamed apple juice. So you would use the steam wand, the same steam wand, now obviously cleaned. You don't dip milk in it. You use the same steam wand that you use to heat the milk up, to heat up the apple juice. And then you would add a pump of cinnamon syrup, so that's more sugar, and a pump of, or not cinnamon syrup, the cinnamon apple syrup stuff that we had for it. You'd add a couple pumps of that, so more sugar there, and then you would add a caramel sauce drizzle to it on the inside of it, which would add more sugar, and then you would add whipped cream and caramel on top of that and a dome lid, which adds even more sugar. And by the end of it, you've got yourself a fucking, that's probably why it upset your stomach, because there's like fucking 50 grams of sugar in that shit. But there's nothing nefarious about it. It's real, the apple juice, you know, the type you get from the store. Fucking plastic jug of apple juice. They pour that in the steam wand and heat up the apple juice, and then add whatever, you know, the caramel and the cinnamon syrup with apple flavoring and all that shit. It's all just sugar. Sugar, 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 caramel apple cider. So that's the nefarious. No, Starbucks is actually pretty good when it comes to like the purity of their products and shit, and not using overly processed shit. Most of the stuff you get at Starbucks is good. Now the Frappuccinos, of course, are completely on their own planet. In order to make those, you've got all these freeze-dried products that you have to fucking reconstitute, makes the fucking double-strength base, and then you add this stuff that comes in a carton to it. It's all like coffee flavoring and sugar and creamer and blah, 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 and you mix all that together, and that's the base for your Frappuccino. So that's definitely not in any way holistic. But if you go in there and order like a caramel macchiato, you know, you're getting coffee. It's like beans are ground right there, and your an espresso machine makes espresso shots, and they pour it in. So, but yeah, if you order the big, well, yeah, Frappuccinos fucking suck, dude. I was there when they rolled out Frappuccinos. I got hired in 2000, and I believe it was 2001 when the Frappuccino went company wide. And I remember everybody that worked in the store was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, we're making milkshakes now?" And we thought, like, because our clientele at that time was all kind of like people that liked espresso and liked hanging out and listening to jazz while they read the paper or whatever the fuck. And all of a sudden, the Frappuccino comes out, and it's like, there are fucking kids lining up with $10 bills to buy these fucking things. And the whole job became different. Everybody that used to work at old school Starbucks hated Frappuccinos, and everybody that works at Starbucks currently hates making them and hates dealing with them. Such a huge amount of what Starbucks sells, and it's the most processed, freeze-dried bullshit you'll ever see. I mean, it is, dude. You literally start with a tub of water, and you have these powdered coffee, instant coffee flakes from Starbucks that are packaged, and you rip it open and you dump the whole contents in the tub of water, and you mix it around, and the coffee dissipates into the water and makes this thick or like dark brown liquid that looks like coffee, but it's cold. Then you grab a carton, like a paper carton, like chicken stock comes in, and you peel it out, you peel it open, and you open it up, and you pour it in. What comes out is this tan brown liquid that if you taste it, it's like everything that goes into coffee except for the coffee. It's like cream, sugar, sweetener, flavorings, all that shit, right? You put two of those in. Then you take a whisk and you go. And then what you have is a tub that's filled with this light brown tan liquid. And you put that in a refrigerator. And then when it comes time, you put that into a pitcher, and you put that into another refrigerator. And then to make a Frappuccino, you pour that into a blender to a line on the blender. You stop at the line. Then you go over to the ice maker and you go scoop, scoop to a line on the blender. And then you take it over to the blender and you put the cap on it and you hit a button and the blender goes. And at the end of that, you've got this like frozen doo-doo soup, right? You take your sweet frozen doo-doo soup, pour that shit into a cup, and then you take a fucking whipped cream canister and you go, and then you take a big bucket of fucking caramel sauce and you go, and then the fucking fat fuck that ordered it is watching you make it and goes, can you put a little more caramel, please? And you go, and you look at the guy and he goes, and you go, all right, and you put the dome on it and you hand it off. That's a Frappuccino. Congratulations, America. That's what you're drinking. Factory chemicals. You just convinced me never to get one again. Well, what did you think it was? Did you think that there was some master frozen coffee craftsman back there, like making each one by hand and flash freezing it? Like, no, dude, it's just a bunch of fucking freeze-dried bullshit and chemicals mixed together and with ice. You will not ruin fraps for me. That's just the truth. Ask anybody that works. I mean, if you want to keep drinking it, go ahead. I'm just telling you what it is. You know, I'm giving you a look at the slaughterhouse, so to speak. Taste wild edible fruits and vegetable of ancient earth, or sample a dish from a 3-star restaurant in the future. The first. Who would, I can always go to a 3-star restaurant. You never get the chance to taste the flavors of unchemical, unfactory farmed, you know, ancient fruits and vegetables and shit. How juicy and natural and amazing they must have been. And not irradiated and weird and mutated and stuff. It must have been great. Almond milk, extra hot, hazelnut latte with ristretto shots is my go-to drink. You're a real pain in the ass, aren't you, Kelsey? You're fucking ristretto shit. A real pain in the patoot, ain't you? Yes. Yes, I would like 12-second shots, please. I like my espresso shots. Ristretto. You're like, oh, do you now? Okay. Well, let me just baby this one. Comes out with a watery ass. Dude, I hate ristretto shots, dude. Whatever, you drink what you want to drink, but dude, I got no respect for people that fucking like ristretto. It's just weak fucking espresso. It's like water espresso. Comes out all weak. It doesn't fully fucking get that deep, dark brew from the espresso, which is the whole point. Comes out like this lighter tan. Never develops the proper heart, body, and crema. So to get into it, an espresso shot is supposed to have 3 layers to it. Once it settles, you pull an espresso shot and then you wait for it to settle. It has the heart, which is this kind of dome of dark black coffee. The body, which is this dark tan. And the crema, which is this very light tan liquid at the top. That's how you know you have a perfect shot of espresso. Heart, body, crema. You pull a ristretto shot like Kelsey orders and you just get body. It is sweeter. You're right about that. But to me, like, come on, man. I'm old school. I was drilled into me, and I know how to appreciate a burnt shot and a short shot versus an actual shot of espresso. I just can't. I'm too old school. Ristretto is espresso for people who don't like espresso. Kinda, yeah. It's like people that like, I got to be honest with you. I think most people, and I'm not saying Kelsey's in this, most people that order ristretto, if they couldn't see what the guy was doing, if you just went over and got some light brew coffee and made the drink, they would be like, perfect ristretto. You know what I mean? They just want coffee, like, but they want to act like they're still drinking fucking espresso, but they're not. They're drinking coffee. So just ask me for like a coffee latte. I can do that. Instead of using fucking espresso shots, I use our brewed coffee. What? Like, I don't look down on that. I used to do it all the time for customers that didn't like espresso and how bitter and acidic it can be. Of course, if the person making your espresso is doing it right, you should never get bitterness. Bitterness is the sign of a shot that has, quote, died. Starbucks should not taste bitter. If you get a drink that has that kind of like bitter finish to it, even with the sweetener, you got burnt shots. If I do regular, I usually ask for my pumps, yeah. Yeah, dead shots are the worst, dude. You actually taste them, or you used to. I don't know how they do it at Starbucks now, but they used to make you taste dead shots because it was like, you have to be familiar with what you're making. And so they would pull a short shot and have you taste it, and you'd be like, I mean, it just tastes kind of like coffee. It's a little weak, watery. They'd be like, yeah, okay. Here's a perfect shot. Let it rest. Let it separate. Shoot it. Oh, man, yeah. Real flavorful, real robust, real dark, real engaging on the tongue. Now here's now just pull a perfect shot again. Okay, pull a perfect shot, and then you just now wait. Watch the heart, body, and the crema, and as you watch it, you'll watch the heart slowly take over the body, and then eventually take over the crema, and you've just got this dark black liquid. Shoot that. Oh, burnt, bitter, awful. So the shot has to be incorporated with the milk before that happens. So if you get a bitter ass drink at Starbucks, somebody fucking played you, player. Somebody doesn't know what they're doing, or somebody just didn't care, gave you some burnt ass fucking old shots. Some dead shots, dude. That's what they call them internally, dead. Because they literally taste dead. When we trained folks, we would do what we called a waterfall and have them try and make everything on the menu. We had a lot of turnover. Oh, yeah. The waterfall. We didn't call it a waterfall, but that was basically it. Is like you had to, it was like either before the store opened or after the store closed. You know, you would close that night, and then, you know, your manager would come in and do your fucking bar test. And it would involve making pretty much one of everything on the menu. And a lot of times they would try and do it during our, like if you had a double bar setup, like the store I trained in had 2 full bars. You didn't always need both. So what would happen is we'd do a big giveaway to the people that were coming in the door because we're making one of every menu. We got a new barista here. You know what I mean? And so your fucking manager would literally stand over your shoulder and go, make me a tall vanilla latte. And take notes. What did your shots look like? How did you incorporate? How many pumps did you use? Was your foam fucking airy and light and delicious, or was it thick? Or was it, you know what I mean? How was your foam? How did you present? All right, make me a tall caramel macchiato. Okay. They take notes. You make everything in the goddamn store. It's pretty fucking, like, you have to know your shit. Or at least you did back in the day. I don't know how they do it now. But yeah, a lot of people couldn't make it past that hump. Now, that back in the day, that just meant that those people worked the counter. Final interview in 8 minutes. For what? A final interview for what? Do Starbucks overseas do this? I've had some bad ones. Probably. I've never been overseas. Anybody can be a barista, but you gotta fucking like, so I'll give you an example. My ex Ashley wanted to be a bar person. She wanted to work bar. And so while other people were training, they didn't really focus on it. She learned every drink and how to do it because she wanted eventually to be the person that was jockeying bar. And that's what she does. They put her on bar because that's what she's good at. You know what I mean? She actually took the effort to learn all that shit. So back in the day, it was the same way. Like if you worked at Starbucks and you didn't do too well on your bar test, it just meant you were a fill-in bar person. Like if you were absolutely needed there, you go fill in. How many minutes do I have? 5? Gotta go.